All this week I've been exploring what joy looks like in the Bible. That's because on the third Sunday of Advent each year, we light the candle of joy on the Advent wreath. I've noted the connection between joy and making music, how we can derive joy from events that have not even happened yet, the fact that even nature itself expresses its joy at God's coming reign. We've talked about what Israel's joy is about and even the joy and delight God has in God's own people. Today, as we complete our journey through joy, we'll talk about Paul's joy. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Saturday, December 20th, 2025. The church today is both like and unlike the church Paul knew. I suspect that if we were able to travel back through time and if we were able to understand the language spoken, we would find a lot of what the church did completely foreign to us. On the other hand, we would be united with our early forebears in some very human things. For one, we would recognize the all too human squabbling that went on in the early church. But one thing we might be unprepared for is the level of struggle they underwent as a new and relatively unknown religious sect. Many Christians today believe we are a beleaguered religious minority under attack. Personally, I don't buy into that narrative, at least not compared with the situation facing our sisters and brothers in some other parts of the world, and certainly not in comparison with the earliest Christians, for whom membership in the church often meant social ostracization, economic hardship, and occasionally even physical attack or even death itself. Compared to them, we have it easy, unless we go picking fights. The churches Paul wrote to uniformly faced a level of persecution unlike anything most of us can imagine. This persecution apparently had a profound impact on the relationships among church members. Why? Because persecution is scary, and when we human beings are afraid, we start to behave in often irrational and self-centered ways. Fear can drive people to adopt rigid opinions, closing themselves off from the opinions and perspectives of others. That seems to have been true in Philippi, one of the churches Paul himself had founded. He himself was apparently in prison when he wrote this letter. Now, he was no stranger to the stresses and fears that come with persecution, and so as a result, by turns he would cajole his listeners to buck up and praise them for their faith and faithfulness. In a passage we happen to read each year on Palm Sunday, Paul encourages the Philippians to hang tough and to stick together, not letting their fears divide them. In this passage, we get a glimpse into Paul's heart and what drove him as an apostle. He writes, "If then there is any encouragement in Christ, any consolation from love, any sharing in the Spirit, any compassion and sympathy, make my joy complete. Be of the same mind, having the same love, being in full accord and of one mind. Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility regard others as better than yourselves. Let each of you look not to your own interests, but to the interests of others. Let the same mind be in you that was in Christ Jesus, who, though he was in the form of God, did not regard equality with God as something to be exploited, but emptied himself, taking the form of a slave, being born in human likeness. And being found in human form, he humbled himself and became obedient to the point of death, even death on a cross." Make my joy complete, Paul says. It is clear that Paul's joy is in the ability of the church not just to endure suffering, but to thrive in the face of it. His joy is the hope that the Philippians would not let their fears divide them, but would remain united in their faith in Jesus Christ in the face of opposition. Be of the same mind, having the same love, being in full accord and of one mind. It is only human to let our fears get the best of us. But for Paul, overcoming fear and maintaining unity in spite of differences, was his hope for the Philippian congregation, and to the extent that they could achieve it, it would be his cause for joy. For a church divided is a poor witness to the redeeming and reconciling love of God in Jesus Christ. Maybe we need to hear the same message today. Next week, the candle of love. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.